Hi, folks. It's Double Krown, and I've had something that I want to talk about for a while on my mind, and it's about charity and it's about money. And I wanted to talk about money actually, and charity kind of fits in nicely with that because, as we know, money makes the world go round. So. Money is pretty much the key to a lot of things that we're seeing in the world. Money is really the foundation of our society, um, and and charity fits in with nicely with that because charity as well is kind of focused on raising money. Um, so well, let's talk about money first. So I've got some slides here for you. Um, right, money itself, like I said, money makes the world go round. So everybody just thinks in terms of money, money, money. It's all about consumerism, um, commercialism, um, and of course the money is created by the governments and by the banks essentially, and we're learning that the money seems to be, or large amounts of the money is held by a very few people, mostly at the top, and those few people who are controlling the money supplies, the banks, those people we refer to as the elite, and of course. When you know everything we do in our lives is pretty much for money. You go to work so you can earn money. You go to school so that you become educated and you get a good job so that you can earn money. Um, and if you get involved with a charity organization or if you get involved with a charity event, you go around trying to raise money for the charity. So we're all focused on money, money, money. And let's make no mistake, I'm on this YouTube channel and creating this video because I'm hoping that my YouTube channel will make some money. So it's all about money, money, money. And I mean, I'm no different, you know. We all focus on that. So there's no kind of getting away from it. But maybe just getting away from the idea of money is exactly what we kind of need to do, because of course all this money here that you see, this is just an invention, this is just a creation of mankind. It's just a figment of our imagination, and we're using this as a measure of how much an individual is worth, a measure of how hard you've worked. This is really, the crux of society. This is a measure of energy as well. And of course, if you control money, you control energy. You control how much effort people are going to put into certain things. The more money, the more effort people are going to put into it. And I'm thinking that maybe people need to move away from the idea of money. Very difficult to do, and it's almost impossible to persuade the governments or anything like that, because everybody's invested so much in this idea of money that to let this idea go, is very, very challenging for society. Very, very difficult for them to do. Now, we've got a couple of charities in the UK. One of them is Children in Need, and another one of them is called Red Nose Day. Now, again, these charities operate on the basis of getting money. So when you go out and let's say you run a marathon, you are running the marathon to raise money. Let's say you dress up as a rabbit for the day, with a bucket in your hand, trying to raise funds, get loose change off people, again, you're doing that for money. And of course, what happens to all the money that you've collected once once Red Nose Day is finished and all that money is collected into a big pot somewhere or into a bank somewhere? Where does it go? We don't know, do we? By and large, I mean, they report back and they sort of tell us where they've spent the money, but we don't know how much everything is how much everything costs. We don't know whether the managers are taking some of that money. We don't know if the fundraisers have pocketed some of that change. We don't actually know. And of course, even the stuff that they buy, we don't know that that's necessarily the best buy. We don't know if they've got the best bargain. We don't know if they've spent the money wisely. If you were in charge, you might have spent the money differently. So even these charities, they're trying to do good, but of course they're focused around money. And wouldn't it be great if there was another concept of charity which wasn't so focused on money? So, I mean, for example, these events like Red Nose Day, and the other one is Children in Need. These are televised events, and so they raise a lot of money because they're televised. They get a lot of publicity. But just imagine if there was an event where people didn't raise money, but they actually did something for the community. Perhaps they could allocate a day where you actually go and do something, not for money, but you just go and do something for the community. And no money is actually exchanged. Now, that would be potentially a great charity kind of event. How would that operate? How would that even function? I mean, for example, if you were a bus driver, you could let on that day you could let the odd person onto your bus and let them have a journey for free. If you were working in a restaurant, you could on that day let the odd person have a meal for free. If you worked at a dry cleaners, for example, you could on that charity event, on that charity day, allow somebody to get their clothes dry cleaned for free on that day. So this kind of charity, or this way of thinking, which kind of detaches us from the money, I know it will be the bosses would be very, very angry. Obviously, I'm not suggesting that everybody goes out and gives away products for free or whatever. This would be literally like a one-off on that day, something that people could do. But this would allow people to detach themselves from money, and it would allow the system to detach itself from money. And the benefits of this are that for the individual, life is about giving and taking. And with these typical charity events like Red Nose Day, like Children in Need, we're giving. But of course, life is about giving and it's about taking. And if you did something locally in the community where you give, but you also meet the person who is doing the taking, and you can actually have a conversation with them, I think that creates a more compassionate society, and this is possibly a better way to go. So let's say you live in Africa. Now, Africa's a very, very poor continent, and the people there as well give, of course, because the countries of Africa are, quite often severely in debt. So when we think, they just take, that's not necessarily true, because the average African, they might be forced into child labor. And then, of course, when they grow up, they go into work. So they're working, giving as well. That's your average person, your average African. Now, if you are one of the very few lucky Africans, you might be a beneficiary of some Western aid. And to benefit from Western aid, you would probably be a particularly vulnerable group. And if you were in that vulnerable group, you would receive Western aid, and you might remain vulnerable for a very, very long time, and you might continue to receive aid again and again. And of course you would need that aid. But of course life is about giving and taking. And if people did things in the community locally, you get the benefit of giving and you get the benefit of taking. And if we focused not so much on money and actually doing something, it gives us a chance to give, but it also gives us a chance to receive within the community, because maybe somebody will do something for us. And of course, one thing in the West that we very much need is, because in the West, people are generally working, and giving, but we also need to learn to receive, because life is about giving and taking. Now, you might be thinking, well, who's going to benefit? Because when people give, who are you going to give that? Who are you going to give that free meal to, that free bus ride to? Typically, it's going to be the pretty girl who gets the benefit. I mean, I like pretty girls as well. So we need to learn to give, not just to the usual suspects, but to perhaps the old lady, the old man, somebody that perhaps you wouldn't normally give to. It's something we need to learn, because in the West, I think we have a very kind of hard society and a very harsh outlook, and that's because people in the West generally feel like they're giving and not getting much in return. But if we had a different kind of charity event where we get away from money and we have both the chance of giving and the chance of receiving, that might be a better way forward. Well, just my thoughts. I thought I would share with you. Thanks for listening, and see you again soon. Bye for now.